The first 8 things that you need to do when you arrive in France. Moving to a new country can be an exciting adventure, but it can also be daunting and overwhelming, especially if it is your first time. Bonjour, I'm Giga from the blog Expat in France. I help English-speaking expats to move to France and navigate the French culture and bureaucracy to build their new French life on their own terms. From visas to housing, there are so many things to consider when relocating to France. In this video, I will be walking you through the first 8 steps that you need to take when arriving in France to live. Whether you're moving to Paris for work or to the French countryside for a new start, I've got you covered. So let's dive into the ultimate guide to starting your new life in France. Number 1. Have your visa request file documents with you. Your first arrival in France experience will be at the airport, or more specifically at customs in the first Schengen country your flight lands. To make everything go smoothly, you should have your visa request file with you. This means all the documents that you submitted to the visa center or the French consulate to get your visa approved. It can happen that the customs officer will ask you questions, and it is always helpful to have all the backup documents with you. Now, number 2, find a place to live, of course. Finding a suitable place to live is a top priority when relocating overseas. You can rent an apartment or a house, and if you do not have a guarantor in France, it can be challenging to find a long-term rental through agencies. Most expats will rent temporary housing such as an Airbnb or a hotel for a few weeks to find a more permanent place to live. You can use websites such as seloger.com, PAP for Paris mainly, and Le Bon Coin. Watch out for scams on Le Bon Coin though. The best practice is to never pay a holding deposit. This is not a legal practice in France. You will find more tips in this video up there on how to get your rental file application accepted. Now, number 3. Validate your long-stay visa or request your residence permit. Before moving to France, you need to obtain a visa that matches the purpose of your stay in France. There are about 28 different long-stay visas that allow you to enter France with the purpose of staying for 12 months or more. However, your visa is only an entry document, and to be able to remain legally in France for more than the initial 90 days, you need to validate your entry visa as a residence permit. And this applies when you entered France with what we called a VLSTS, un visa long séjour valant titre de séjour. In some cases, and mainly if you enter France with one of the talent passport visas, but not only, you will not need to validate your entry visa on arrival. Instead, you will need to request your residence permit directly at the prefecture. Now, number 4, open a French bank account. Opening a bank account in France is essential for managing your finances and paying bills. But there is a catch-22 here. You need a French bank account to find permanent housing, and you need permanent address to open a French bank account. I help the France Formula course participants to overcome this challenge so that they can have a smoother arrival. If you want help with all the main steps to move to France, so these 8 steps but so much more, you can sign up for the France Formula course waiting list via the link in the description below. This is the best way not to miss the next opening, since the doors open a few times a year and only for a few days. Number 5. Register with French healthcare system. Having healthcare coverage is compulsory in France. It can be via the French public healthcare or private health insurance. Registration with French public healthcare is not automatic and requires quite a bit of paperwork and a lot of patience. You will most likely first be given a temporary social security number starting with the number 8. This temporary number allows requesting medical bills reimbursement via the paper form process. And once you receive your final social security number, that would be starting with the number 1 for males and number 2 for females, You will be able to apply for a carte vitale that will facilitate the reimbursement process. You will find more information on French healthcare registration on the video up there. Now, number 6, get a French phone number. Having a mobile phone number is essential for staying connected with friends, family, and colleagues in France. You can choose from various providers such as Orange, SFR, or Free, and there are so many others. Just make sure to compare plans and choose one that fits your budget and needs. You will usually have discounts around Christmas times and also in September. Number 7. Request your French tax registration number. Tax returns should be filed in France in April-May for the previous year's income. So this means that you will not need to file it your first year in France. However, to facilitate your first tax return, it is recommended to request your tax ID number, called in French numéro fiscal. It is a unique number assigned to you by the French tax office. This number is essential as it is required for completing your personal income tax declaration online. Then number 8, finalize your child's school registration in the French education system. Depending on the visa your child entered France with, you most certainly had to pre-register your child with a school in France. Once you arrive in France, you will need to finalize the school registration. This is usually done directly with the school, and for that, you should make an appointment with anticipation with the school administration to finalize the paperwork. In short, nailing your arrival in France always means that you have anticipated every step. These 8 steps are just the tip of the French bureaucracy iceberg. You will need to be patient and perseverant to make it work. And remember, if you want help for a smoother experience, the French Formula course might be what you need to make things correctly from the start and not to forget any essential step. I have left another video here about how to get access to French healthcare. I hope to see you there. Merci et à bientôt!